Hi there, it's Gina Gardner, and I'm very pleased to welcome you to day 2 of the Happiness Challenge. One of the things that I've learned from working with so many people is that, generally speaking, being happy is a state that people aspire to, but they make it really, really difficult. In day 1, I talked about the criteria that we used to be happy. Rather than the I'll be happy when and the huge list of hoops that you have to jump through in order to be happy, choosing to make the criteria for happiness easy to achieve. I'll be happy every time the sun shines, somebody gives me a hug, I have a nice cup of coffee, and so on. Today I want to talk about being in the moment. And by that I mean is being fully present to what's going on now. For many people, they spend a lot of their time looking back in the past. If only I had done this, if only I hadn't done that. Worrying about what has gone on, or suffering still because of a poor childhood or because somebody's unkindness to them. And that focus on the past stops them enjoying the moment now. You can't do anything about the past. It's done, it's gone. That moment only has one purpose now, and that's for you to learn from it and to take that learning forward. Depression and anxiety are often around because people are focusing on the past and the future rather than in this moment. But if you think about it, we have this moment. The past is gone. The future hasn't happened yet. We can't guarantee that it's going to happen. We only have the now. And yet, how many of us, myself included, spend time worrying about what has happened, being anxious about what might happen, but of course, it might never happen. And as a result, we spend no time at all appreciating and being in the moment, being in the now. The result of that is that there's always a sense of disappointment about what's gone on and anxiety and worry about what is to come. Living in the moment is something that needs to be practiced. 95% of what we do is habitual. And so unless we choose to learn to live in the moment, it's something that eludes us. But when you do live in the moment, you can truly appreciate a whole range of things that would actually pass you by. It's said that in any given moment, there's about 9 million, goodness knows how they've worked it out, but 9 million potential things to see, hear, feel, experience. And our brains can't cope with that. And so they narrow it down to around 7 plus or minus 2. And so if you're focusing on all of the difficulties, all of the fears, all of the challenges, the things you can't do, rather than what you can, we'll talk about that more in another day, then you're not focusing on what's happening now. So just before I started this recording, there was a very, very heavy rainstorm. I could have chosen to think, oh, it's grey, it's rainy. We've gone back to it being winter in the UK, having had a couple of weeks of real spring, early summer type weather. Or I could focus on the fact that the garden needs the water, that I'm very lucky that I have clean water to drink. And I can appreciate the power of nature as I saw the raindrops falling, or rather the buckets of rain falling. I think there are lots of things to appreciate in the moment. Being aware that you have comfortable, warm clothes to wear, that you're sitting in a warm environment, that you have enough to eat, that you have friends, that you have interests, that you can put the television on and that you know that you've got electricity, that you've got clean water to drink. There are any number of things that when you are in the moment and you appreciate those little moments, that they can help you feel so much more contented and happy. For me, nature is an incredible source of inspiration, awe and wonder and happiness. That I can look out in my courtyard, which is behind the computer, and I can see spring is really working hard to be here. The bulbs are up, the trees are budding, every time I walk around my garden, there's something else that has come up that a few weeks ago looked dead and dormant. When you're living in the moment, you can appreciate the relationships that you have in your life in a very different way. My sister, who I think is very wise, once said to me, "You're so busy striving for goals that you've forgotten to enjoy the journey." And for me, that is a really important lesson that I've learned, that learn to enjoy each moment. And of course, there are challenges, but even in those challenges, there's the opportunity to recognize that, I'm strong enough and resilient, and my mum used to say bloody minded enough to actually find a way through, and to recognize that, I have the capacity to do that. If you're not in the moment and you're too busy focusing on the past or the future, then it's very difficult to appreciate what you do have and how you have the capacity to manage these things. So my challenge to you is, over the next few days, think about being in the moment. Think about noticing, really noticing. What can you see? And I mean, really look. When was the last time that when you were looking at, for example, a plant, that you really looked at how those flowers or those leaves were configured, and looked at the variety of colours and textures that there are in that plant or in the natural world? If you've got children, when was the last time that, rather than thinking about, I've got to get them fed and watered and get them to school and do the homework, that you actually watched them play and you listened to them chuckle, or you went and played with them and were in the moment with them? Before you know where you are, they'll have left home, gone to work, gone to university. If you don't enjoy the moment's past. You can't get it again. If you have pets, then do you notice when they're doing something silly, or do you just notice when they've done something naughty? Do they make you laugh? Do they give you a sense of contentment when they come and they sit on your lap, or they come and have interaction with you? You can choose to find things to be joyful and happy about in every moment. Even in dark moments where things are really challenging, there will be something that you can see where you can appreciate that moment for what it is. And if you start to recalibrate your brain, you start to change the way in which you approach thinking about the world and about your life, you can then create a situation where you focus far more on the things that give you happiness, that make you feel content, that make you feel alive. Life is for living. None of us know how long we've got. And so I would suggest that, by living in the moment, you can live as if each day is the last and you want to squeeze every last drop out of it. You can choose to be happy. You can choose to look for things which actually give you that sense of expansion, and be aware of those things, so you can then in turn focus on those rather than all of the challenges that life inevitably brings. Now, I'd love to know, what are the things that when you focus on them make you feel happy? I've shared some of mine with you, but I'd really love to know what yours are, and that will help other people who are watching this live or as a recording. Perhaps remind them of things in their life that perhaps they've taken for granted or that they haven't thought about at all. And actually, they too can give some attention to those things and learn how much pleasure they can give you when you do choose to really focus on them. The other thing is that there's lots more information and free resources on my website, and I will put the link in the comments. But my website is genuinely-you.com. That's genuinely, then the little line, and the word you.com. You can sign up for my free TV series, which goes into lots of detail, lots of practical strategies around living a happy, more successful and fulfilling life. And that's the theme of my latest #1 international best-selling book. Now, you can get a free digital download, but if you prefer, from the website or from Amazon or all good book platforms and stores, you can buy the book as a paperback, as a hardback, or if you like to listen to things, it's also there as an audio. But you can find all of those things on my website. That's genuinely-you.com. And I look forward to seeing you on day 3. Thanks very much for joining me. Take care. Be happy.